beginning of 2018, I flew to Peru where I volunteered at what was back then known as the Tamandua Macaw project to assist with vital conservation research being carried out on macaws. In 2020, the organisation cut ties with the Rainforest Expedition Tourist Lodge where the research centre was previously located. The legitimate, amazing research group is now known as the Macaw Society. I wanted to capture my experience of living in the heart of the rainforest for 2 months, so I brought my camera along to document my time as a macaw researcher. Looking back over the footage 3 years later, I wanted to share my Peruvian rainforest adventure. So let me take you back in time and show you what living in this amazingly biodiverse, harsh and remote place was really like. I had arrived shortly after a period of heavy rainfall, with January and February being the 2 wettest months in this part of the world. Living in a rainforest, nothing ever truly gets dry, and your clothes are always damp with humidity or sopping wet after wading through waist-high pools of water. It didn't take me long to spot the immensely diverse wildlife the rainforest had to offer. Howler monkeys were amongst my favourite rainforest neighbours. They've got luscious orange coats of fur, they chuck seeds at you from the canopy above, and they make the most amazing alarm clock ever. Howler monkeys are the largest of any monkey, and their booming calls are amplified by the air spaces in their throats. Another animal you may encounter in the treetops is the Tamandua, which is a type of anteater. These animals are toothless and they have remarkably long characteristic tongues. They rely on their sense of smell to find food as their eyesight is very poor. They feed on termite mounds, ant hills and insect nests, and they use their long claws to break into them. The research centre and the team welcomed me with open arms, and from day one, this small wooden building in the middle of the rainforest felt like home. I had arrived in the height of the macaw nesting season, so lots of nests had young chicks. The nests needed to be climbed and checked daily in order to measure the health and development of the chicks and the interaction and parental care of the adults. Clay lick monitoring was also vital. By observing the clay lick for 6-hour shifts, we were able to gain an accurate picture of how and why clay licks were being used. The first time you climb is terrifying, exhilarating and amazing all at the same time. You feel yourself becoming more confident and getting stronger with each climb that you do. The 30-metre vertical drop as you look down into nothingness becomes your daily normal.
And that's the drop.
At the Macaw project, the 2 species of macaws which are monitored are scarlet macaws and red and green macaws, which nest in the hollows of tall trees. The Macaw project has also built artificial nest boxes made out of wood and PVC piping, which are used extensively and successfully throughout the breeding season. When you reach the nest, often one or both of the macaw parents are in the area. If they're in the nest, you need to be prepared for an aggressive confrontation with an angry, protective macaw parent armed with a razor-sharp beak and talons. With the utmost care, you have to get the chick or chicks, depending if there's more than one, from the nest into the bucket, where they are then lowered for a veterinary examination down on the ground. The future of a species is in your hands, quite literally, and a combination of sheer terror and an innate gentleness when handling something so valuable assures that the chicks get into the bucket safely. After a long day's work, it's time to head back to the research centre for the night. It starts all over again in the early hours the following morning. The call of the howler monkeys marks the early start of a new day. Even when you're aching from climbing, sore from carrying the heavy rope bags, dripping with sweat the minute you leave the research centre, and just utterly exhausted, you start every day feeling content. there's a huge sense of satisfaction that the team you are a part of are helping to collect data which ultimately helps the conservation of this species. Every day is an adventure, and despite falling into a similar routine, you never quite know what you might see or what might happen. The unpredictability of working with wildlife is exhilarating and incredibly exciting.
I'm here in Tapia, which is one of the nests, and I don't know if you can see, but I am literally on top of the world. Like, it's a massive drop, but I'm just surrounded by trees, and you can't describe this feeling.
The wonders of the rainforest treetop canopy never cease to amaze me. Being up in the world of the macaws, howler monkeys, toucans is truly a phenomenal experience. So I'm currently just changing the substrate in the nest box, which consists of these small wood shavings. This is an important part of climbing the trees regularly to check the condition of the substrate, as well as the development and growth of the macaw chicks. Another day, sometime before 4:30 AM. It's time for nest observation.
So it's just starting to get light now. It's nearly 5:30. And there's a macaw in the entrance of the nest. And I'm still trying to figure out whether it's the nesting male or the nesting female. So I'm here at nest observations at the nest and more. So that is the nest there. And what we do here, we're here for 6-hour shifts. So it'll be recording video inside the nest, and with that we can sort of look at how many times the parents are in the nest, how many times they're feeding the chick. So I'm just walking back now. I finished my 6 hours of nest observation, which was really fun. I always like it. You get to learn so much about the parents, the behaviour, how they interact with each other, how they interact with the chick. It's really cool. And I'm just on the trail home.
After having spent 2 months as a macaw researcher, my time here had come to an end. Despite the hardships and challenges, I woke up every day and I loved what I was doing. I wouldn't have wanted to be anywhere else in the world. I would miss waking up with the howler monkeys and going to sleep with the macaws. And most of all, I'd miss being up in the treetop canopy every single day, having the most phenomenal wildlife interactions, where you don't have to go to the wildlife comes to you. Being a part of this amazing research team is something I'll never forget.